Well, we have to do the newspapers. And Mama, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Are they?
Nice.
What they happen?
Well.
I'm told that you want to do some innovation this morning. Oh, you're still a fear.
No. Okay, this is it. I mean, you know, the South African president struggled to put his mask on. Did you see that video?
I've not cited it. When he did his last address, saying that he wanted to open up some places?
Yes.
Okay. To say, put it in perspective, Cyril Ramaphosa is a very rich man, even though he's also a president. So forgive him for some of the things. But it doesn't also absolve him of blame, you know. I think as a leader, he should have been practicing right. That's where I have to give it up.
we're not doing the blame thing. I mean,
it's not blaming, but he doesn't know how to wear the mask. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
I think
demonstrating how to wear a mask.
It's difficult sometimes. So,
yeah.
You want me to help you out? Let's finish with the newspapers. Hopefully, I can get a minute to do that. But you know, you have to sanitize right before you put the mask on.
Yeah.
And there are places that you don't have to touch. A lot of us make that mistake. I've been learning a few tricks, so maybe I can.
Hey, after all these weeks, you're not learning.
Yeah, we're still learning. There's still a lot.
Yeah, I know we have to learn every day, but am I safe? We'll go have production meetings after the show and all that.
Listen, we all can't take like 100%. Like, you know, there's so many things.
But you know, over the weekend I had a demonstrative video with Salifu Combat. You know, he's a health professional. He's the head of primary health pharmacy at the Boku Presbyterian Hospital, and he showed me some few tricks.
So that's on video?
Yeah, that was on video. That was demonstration that Cyril Ramaphosa couldn't do, but Salifu Combat of Boku did it.
All right.
You know,
let's do the newspapers.
For shaggy reasons.
I'll do the Daily Graphic and the Chronicle newspaper. Let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Here we go. What's on the front page? The banner headline, ban on public gathering extended. Also, 88 hospitals, 3 infectious disease centers to be built. All came out yesterday as the president addressed the nation. NMC calls for financial support for media. 6 lockdown lawbreakers test positive for COVID-19. Meeting was normal work, according to the EC, but NDC thinks otherwise. Well, there's some clarity in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Dr. Eric Bosman, deputy chair of the EC, is giving some details. When we run through the headlines, we will talk about what he's been sharing with the Daily Graphic. Unipass goes nationwide tomorrow. That's also another headline. This is how the front page of the paper looks like today. Let's check out what's in the center spread of the graphic, though. Nooks commends government for bold decision on education and COVID-19. Pharmaceutical companies to produce 70% of country's drug needs. Fast-track processes for disbursement of 600 million Ghana cedis stimulus package. Also, that story in the center spread of the paper. And on the back page, VRA, Takwatiko fumigate 4 Shama communities, and police impound 200 motorbikes in Accra. Let's move on to the Chronicle newspaper. Front page of the Chronicle. Tension in shipping industry over minister's waiver directive. Also use calico or cotton-made nose mask. That's according to the Food and Drugs Authority. NPP Youth Honor Chief of Staff. And there's a quotation here. If you see the front page of the Chronicle, it says, Sir John, Samira writes on COVID-19, NLA formally takes over online lottery. There you go with how the Chronicle front page looks like today, Monday 27th. Roland?
Well, we have to go straight away to the Ghanaian Times, and the Ghanaian Times has on the front page, okay, COVID-19 use continuous assessment to grade BEC WASI students, that will be SHS, etc. Okay, so we have the CRI, that's Child Rights International, led by Bright Appiah, encouraging the WAEC to use the assessment of schools, as has been sent by schools to WAEC to grade the students as to who gets A1, A2. I don't know how they grade them these days. So BEC, WASI students, suggest that to government. I think that will be pretty difficult. don't know. Everybody will be getting 111. I don't know. Because the assessments look very good when they are sent to WAEC. So we'll see how that goes. But the main story on the front page of the Ghanaian Times: to prevent spread of coronavirus, President extends public gathering ban for another 2 weeks. That was well appreciated, because there were a lot of things flying. I don't know whether Mamavi received one of them. That the president was going to lift the ban on restrictions, people can go to church, etc. Then quickly I got somebody asking, so the way we shout to Lord Jesus, then somebody will be spitting on your face. Lord Jesus. Then at the mosques too, when they're calling on Muhammad, they'll also be spitting on your face. And that's essentially the reasons why we don't want public gatherings to be encouraged at this moment in time. Yeah. But in the meantime, we told you about the Electoral Commission. Mamavi will be having an interaction with a member of parliament for Ningo Pram and some Georges on the line. And it's on the back of, first he had a concern. There was an injunction that he prayed the court to grant. It was granted for that trainers workshop not to be convened at the City Escape Hotel in his constituency. And it looked like somehow it was conducted in another branch, which was located at airports of City Escape Hotel. The officials of the Electoral Commission were in there, and then, as we reported, we had some members of the NDC, particularly I saw Sam George, and also John Dumelo was in there, a number of officials. They all thronged the frontages, and Mamavi, Sam George is on the line. Well, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mamavi. I hope you're doing well, and good morning to you.
Great. So you secured a court injunction on the EC until today, 27th of April, but there were rumors that they had carried that particular meeting to another location. Let's talk about what you know about what transpired at this second location.
Well, they went ahead to have the training workshop, at least for Saturday, that I'm very much aware, in contravention of the court injunction, which said that they should not hold the training, and that holding of a workshop was illegal. However, the Electoral Commission, led by JoyNews and Bosman Asari, decided to flout the court order. And so, for me, I believe that they've acted in contempt of court. On Saturday when we were there, I personally saw Bosman Asari and Samuel Tete present. Bosman Asari is a university don who has taught political science and should know better and understands what the court order is. Gentleman has a lot and knows what the court injunction is. Their decisions to flout the court injunction is regrettable, and as far as I'm concerned, can only be happening because they have the tacit approval of the flag about.
Mr. George, can we go back a bit? Was the EC served with the injunction?
Yes, they were served the injunction.
And was the injunction on the meeting itself or the location?
Well, these arguments that I hear in the media and on social media is quite interesting. How would anybody go to court and file an injunction against a location? I mean, what would be my motivation to go and file an injunction against the location? The injunction and my prayer to the court was simple. I asked the Lord Justice to make a determination on whether the action of the Electoral Commission constituted an illegality. EI-64, and when I went to court, my source document or my reference document were EI-64, EI-65, and EI-67. EI-64, 65, and 67 do not talk about Phantom. They have nothing to do with the hotel. So those documents have absolutely no bearing on a hotel, absolutely no bearing on a location, but they have bearings on actions that the EC was engaged in, holding of workshops. So how anybody would want to make this about a location, it beats my mind. It beats my mind. Because the prayer to the court, I went to the court with only one relief, that the court should stop the Electoral Commission from holding a workshop because holding that workshop was illegal. The court asked me and my counsel, how was it illegal? And we referenced the court to EI 64. EI 64 is clear. EI 64 was not put together by some judge. It was put together by President Akufo-Addo. And EI 64 is clear that you cannot hold workshops or conferences. EI 65 gives a list of exempted institutions that can hold conferences. The Electoral Commission is not one of them. EI 67 gives an extension to EI 64. The judge looked at all of this and ruled on it. So how this can then become an issue of a hotel is really interesting.
But Mr. George, do you know if the EC did indeed hold a workshop?
Oh yes, a workshop was held. But we've seen the attendance sheet. When we got there, they were in there having the training with staff of the Electoral Commission. They were in there having the training with regional directors of the Electoral Commission. That's what they were doing. Why? And even if it was not a workshop, let's even play this. Let's play the devil's advocate. Except it was a private burial that the Electoral Commission was having there. The police had a responsibility to arrest every single one of them there when they got there. When people were having a wedding, which is a social gathering in Obuasi, and the police went there, did they not arrest them? When people were having a wedding in Tamale, because it was a social gathering, did the police not arrest people? When the church in Kumasi was holding a service, which was a religious gathering, and mind you, social gatherings, religious gatherings, and workshops are in the same paragraph of EI 64. The same paragraph that makes social gatherings and religious gatherings illegal at this point in time is the same one that makes workshops or social gatherings illegal. So if the Electoral Commission even claims that it was a social gathering of EC staff, that in itself constituted an illegality.
Okay, so you don't...
The argument of less than 25 people, if you take EI 64, that argument is peculiar to only private burials. It is only private burials that can have a minimum of 25 people.
Okay.
Every other gathering is prescribed by EI 64.
All right.
And the last thing I'll make, Mama B, is that, you see, it is interesting, the kind of hypocrisy in this country, that people will want to suggest that, oh yes, it is an illegality for them to hold it in Pram Pram, but they can come and hold it in airport residential. Why? Different laws apply in Pram Pram and different laws apply in airport residential.
So
the laws of Ghana have complete jurisdiction over every town, village, and city in Ghana.
There's a reaction actually in the Daily Graphic newspaper. So I just wanted to say that you don't have to play the devil's advocate. Now, the Graphic newspaper is reporting that a deputy chairperson of the EC in charge of corporate services, Dr. Bosman Asari, has explained that the meeting was an in-house, so it's an in-house meeting of directors, which we hold 3 times in a year as part of our operations. I'm just quoting what they've quoted in the paper. It is an in-house meeting of directors, which would hold 3 times in a year as part of our operations. And he goes on to explain that the meeting could have taken place at the EC's headquarters. He said the EC chose to relocate the meeting to meet the social distancing directives currently in force. He also says, just as other institutions were working in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the EC is also working in preparation for the 2020 elections. And I'm quoting this directly from the Graphic newspaper. So that's a response to the fact that it wasn't a training session, but it was an in-house meeting, something they could have done in their own premises.
Again, very, very disappointing coming from someone who has been training students in our universities as a political science lecturer and one who's been teaching government. It is shameful that this will be his excuse. Why do I say so? On Friday, in granting his judgment, in giving his judgment, the Supreme Court judge, the High Court judge who sat on the matter, was very explicit. And today I will share a copy of the judgment with you. The judge was explicit when he said that given the president's latest directives at the time, where the president had lifted the lockdown and allowed for businesses to resume, but to observe social distance measures, if the Electoral Commission had chosen to hold this meeting within their premises, there would have been no breach of the law. The judge was clear about it. The City Escape Hotel at Airport Residential is not the premises of the Electoral Commission. Look, I'll give you a case, a classic case on jurisdiction and how this is interpreted in law. Adler versus George. A ruling was given that nobody should be found in the vicinity of Her Majesty's military installation. Adler found himself within a military installation and was arrested. When he went to court, his argument was that the ruling was that don't be found within the vicinity. Not in the vicinity, he was inside. The court held that he was being very silly. And that is exactly the same application to Osman Asari with his argument. It's a very silly argument to make. What was the intentment of the law in Adler and George? It was for you not to be found anywhere near because they didn't want you to enter. You have entered and you are saying because the law said don't get near, I am inside, so I am not found. But Asari, the law says don't hold a meeting. Except it is within your premises, and then you can practice social distance measures. You can hold a meeting elsewhere and claim that because you wanted to practice social distance measures, you went elsewhere. When the law is clear, don't hold any meeting outside of your premises.
So now that this has happened, what do you intend doing?
Well, I'm discussing with my lawyers. There's several options available to us, several options, including citing every single one of them, including the police and national security operatives who came there, who all breached and flouted the Constitution and acted in contempt of court. Because, listen, court orders are meant to, one of the core principles of security services in this country, especially the Ghana Police Service, is the enforcement of court orders. That is the mandate of the police service. The police service came there, and instead of enforcing a court order, granted security to people who were flouting a court order. National security operatives came there, and instead of enforcing the president's executive instrument, came and granted security to and protection to those who were flouting the president's executive instrument. I asked Kwesi Fori, Chief Superintendent Kwesi Fori, who came there that day. I asked him a simple question, and Colonel Opoko of National Security. I asked them that if on Sunday I decided to go to church or hold a church service with 25 people or less than 25 people, and observe social distancing, would they have the right to come and arrest me? When the Electoral Commission is doing exactly the same thing. He couldn't answer the question. The two of them couldn't answer the question. They told me, oh no. I told them if I chose to demonstrate, and in my demonstration, I made sure that everybody, the demonstrators were in groups of 25, equally spaced out and socially spaced out. Would they be able to arrest anybody? In light of what they are doing with the Electoral Commission, they couldn't answer. But this is Nanado's Ghana. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Animal farm situation. When he shoots Nanado and his cronies, they would allow and bend the law. But the president must remember that he swore an oath on the 7th of January 2017 to uphold the Constitution. The Constitution enjoins the president and his security agents to defend court orders and the judiciary.
All right, Mr. George.
They are breaching that.
We'll have to leave it here, but we'll wait for you to give us copies of those court documents so we can all read details of that. That would be very helpful.
Very well.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see how this pans out. Kojo Yangsing is also joining us via Zoom, and Samson Ladia Yenini. Oh, Kojo, hi. There you are.
Hi. Nice to see you, Mama.
Oh, okay. So you wanted to ask Sam George a question. I didn't quite get that.
That's all right. That's fine. I think you asked him a lot of the questions that were on my mind. I actually wanted to get Sam George's explanation for the group that he himself traveled to the hotel with, whether that was not a violation of the president's executive instrument as well. But it's fine. I think you asked him all the questions.
Well, I got this from Samson Ladia Yenini, who is a legal practitioner. It says the EI, in fact, together with the IRA, which is the Imposition of Restrictions Act, grants exemption to essential services, but to work and not to hold conferences and workshops, as Sam George just stated. Exemption to work, not to hold gatherings like conferences and workshops. Well, we're waking up to this day, a working day. We'll see how institutions, appropriate institutions, respond to what happened on Saturday. Roland?
Yeah, so we have to also move on and then continue to do what a demonstration is, and Mamavi has a demonstration on how to wear face masks.
Well, this is just my little way, you know, after we saw that video of the South African president, Ajoy Yeboah made me this one. Well, a number of them. So Ajoy Yeboah, thank you. So before you wear the mask, you must sanitize. That's very important. How many of you actually do it? Sanitize before you wear the mask? Roland, do you?
All the time. I think most of my sanitizers, I get supplies
before you wear the
you,
mask, and then hopefully I don't do. So you are not supposed to touch the front of it, and here you go. This is how you do it.
Okay.
You don't have to hold here, but because I've sanitized, you must use your hands to make sure that it flattens here. So that there's no
space.
Air.
Okay.
Exactly. That's the whole idea.
Right. This is an education.
Don't touch. Don't touch. Because you know, when I speak, everything is forming around here.
Yeah.
So when you touch, the possibility of you touching something that you're not supposed to touch is very high. You get it? So this is it. Always sanitize. And something I learned, when you get home, don't mix it with the rest of your dirty clothes. Soak it in water. Soak it in warm water. Don't add it with the rest of your things. All right. Roland, how did I do?
Fantastic.
Okay.
I think that unlike Cyril Ramaphosa, you rehearsed.
No, I didn't actually. I just watched him and I figured it out.
There's good reason why we're recording just the number of cases in Africa, even in Ghana. It's because we saw what happened in Asia, China particularly, in Europe, and so we had hindsight. You had hindsight, even though Cyril Ramaphosa also had hindsight.
Okay, that's it. Log on to myjoyline.com. We've got plenty of headlines there. Right now, though, we have to take a breather and bring you sports.